The stars were quiet, but silence in deep space never meant safety. The alien warship, black as the void itself, moved across the sector like a predator in the dark. Its crew had crushed countless civilizations. Entire planets had burned under their weapons. They were known across the galaxy as hunters, killers, and the deadliest warriors alive. But tonight, they were about to meet something they had never expected. Something small. Something fragile. Something human. The commander of the alien ship stood tall at the viewing deck. His name was Xyler, feared even among his own kind. His armor was scarred with victories, and his eyes glowed with the hunger of war. He looked at the hologram before him, another planet to invade, another world to conquer. The planet was blue, with wide oceans and green continents. Weak-looking. Primitive. Unprotected. A place that would fall within days. "Is this world dangerous?" one soldier asked. Xyler laughed, a sound like breaking metal. "Dangerous? Look at it. They are still children. Their weapons are toys. Their minds are blind. This will be the easiest hunt of our lives." The crew roared with approval. They had fought great empires, machines of steel, and monsters that breathed fire. But this new world, it was nothing, or so they believed. Down on Earth, the people had no idea what was coming. The night skies looked normal, filled with stars, calm and distant. Cities glowed with light, and humans continued their daily lives, unaware that predators from another galaxy were already watching them. The first sign came quietly. A farm boy in the countryside noticed that the cows were restless, their eyes wide, their bodies shaking. The animal sensed something in the sky, a shadow above the clouds. He looked up and saw nothing, but the fear in the animal's eyes was real. Miles away, a pilot flying a jet reported strange readings on his radar. A massive object appeared, then vanished, as if hiding inside the clouds. His voice shook as he sent the message to command. "I think there's something huge up here with me." But the alien ship was cloaked, invisible to human eyes, hidden behind advanced technology that no Earth radar could fully understand. Inside the alien ship, the warriors prepared for battle. They sharpened their weapons, claws clicking against metal. They were excited. They thought it would be fun, like a game. Hunt the weak, crush the helpless, and return home with stories of conquest. None of them felt fear. Why would they? Yet, deep inside the ship, the youngest soldier whispered to his brother, "Why is this world unclaimed? So many empires exist, yet none took it. Maybe there is a reason." But his brother silenced him. "Do not speak of fear. Fear is weakness." The invasion began. A bright light tore across the sky as the alien dropships entered Earth's atmosphere. From the ground, it looked like meteors falling, flames cutting across the darkness. People came out of their homes, pointing, filming with their phones, thinking it was something beautiful, a cosmic show. They did not know that death was landing among them. The first dropship slammed into a desert, its doors opening with a hiss. Out came tall, armored figures, weapons glowing with deadly power. They looked around at the empty land, disappointed. No challenge. No resistance. But then, something happened. From a nearby military base, sirens screamed. Human soldiers rushed to their posts. Fighter jets scrambled into the sky. Tanks rolled out into the desert night. Orders were given quickly. Unknown hostile forces. Prepare to engage. The aliens laughed when they saw the human forces approaching. Fragile machines. Weak weapons. It would be over in minutes. The first human bullets struck the alien armor. Sparks flew, but the aliens were unharmed. Their laughter grew louder. They raised their weapons and fired back, explosions lighting the desert. Human soldiers fell, jets crashed, tanks burned. But humans did not run. Even when the first line broke, more came. Soldiers regrouped, shouting to one another, covering each other, dragging the wounded to safety. A pilot, with his jet already on fire, did not eject. He turned his plane and rammed it straight into the alien war machine, sacrificing himself to bring it down. The aliens paused. They had seen many species fight. Most begged for mercy. Most screamed in terror. Most ran. But these small creatures, these humans, fought differently. They fought with rage. With courage. With something that was not fear, but fire. Commander Zyler watched from above, his cold eyes narrowing. He expected the battle to be over already. But the humans were still fighting. Still resisting. Still standing. They are not as weak as they look, one soldier whispered. Zyler growled. No matter. They will learn fear. Yet in his heart, for the first time in many wars, Zyler felt something new. It was small, almost hidden. But it was there. It was doubt. The desert burned with fire and smoke. Human soldiers regrouped again and again, even though their weapons barely scratched the alien armor. The aliens kept advancing, their tall forms shining under the flames. They thought victory was certain. But something in the humans' eyes unsettled them. These creatures were not begging, not surrendering. They were fighting with a kind of madness. From above, Commander Zyler watched the chaos. His claws tapped against the arm of his chair. This world should have been simple, yet the battle dragged on longer than expected. Commander, one of his officers said, the resistance is stronger than we thought. Zyler's eyes glowed. Stronger? These creatures are throwing themselves into our weapons like fools. That is not strength. That is desperation. But deep down, he remembered the human pilot who had rammed his own jet into the alien war machine. He remembered the look in the soldier's eyes before the fire consumed him. It was not desperation. It was something else. The second wave of human defense arrived quickly. More tanks rolled across the desert, supported by heavy artillery. Rockets streaked into the night sky, slamming into the alien landing ships. Explosions tore across the sand. Some alien soldiers fell, their armor cracked by the sheer force of human weapons. The aliens roared with rage. For the first time in centuries, they had taken losses on the very first day of an invasion. On Earth, command centers buzzed with urgency. Generals barked orders, scientists studied the enemy, and leaders struggled to keep the public calm. Across television screens and phones, the world saw the impossible. Alien soldiers walking through fire, destroying everything in their path. Panic spread, but so did something else. Hope. Because even though the aliens were powerful, humans had not been wiped out. They were still standing, still resisting. In a secret base deep underground, a group of scientists worked with speed and fear. They had already gathered fragments of alien technology from the battlefield. Broken pieces of weapons, scraps of armor. One scientist, a woman named Dr. Elena Cruz, stared at the glowing shard in her hand. They are strong, she whispered. But not invincible. This material, it reacts to heat differently. Maybe we can exploit that. Her team worked all night, running tests, sending information to the military. Humans had always adapted. Every war in history, every invasion, every disaster. They had learned, they had adjusted, and they had found a way to survive. The aliens did not know it yet, but every moment they fought, humans were already changing the game. Back in the desert, the battle raged. Alien soldiers marched forward, firing their devastating weapons, burning everything in their path. But human soldiers fought in small groups, hiding behind terrain, striking from unexpected angles. Snipers picked off exposed targets. Engineers quickly modified rocket launchers, aiming at weak points in the alien armor. One squad of humans managed to surround a single alien soldier. The alien laughed at them, raising his massive weapon. But before he could fire, the humans attacked together, distracting him, climbing on his armor, shoving grenades into the cracks. The explosion tore the alien apart. The humans cheered, even though many of them were wounded. They had killed one. That was enough to prove it could be done. Commander Zyler watched the feed with growing irritation. His ship's screens showed burning deserts, collapsing machines, and humans who refused to die. "Commander," another officer said carefully, Perhaps we should use the planetary weapon. Burn their cities from orbit. End this quickly. Xyler's claws tightened on the chair. Yes, they could burn the cities. Yes, they could wipe out millions in seconds. But something in him resisted. He had crushed empires before, but this felt different. These humans fought with a spirit he had never seen. Killing them all at once, it almost felt like cowardice. No, he growled. We will break them in battle. I want to see them kneel. I want to see their fire extinguished by my hand. The officer bowed but said nothing. In the shadows of the bridge, even the alien warriors felt uneasy. On Earth, night turned to dawn. Smoke rose from the battlefield, carrying with it the smell of metal and blood. Human survivors dragged themselves back to base, exhausted but alive. They shared stories of fallen friends, of impossible bravery, of moments where death seemed certain but someone had stood in the way. Dr. Elena Cruz received the first reports. Her eyes widened as she saw the patterns in alien armor weaknesses. Tell the generals, she said. We have a chance. We can fight them. Not tomorrow, not next year. Now. The humans prepared for the next battle. And on the alien warship, Commander Xyler stood alone at the viewing deck, staring down at the blue planet. He had seen many worlds. But this one was different. It was dangerous, not because of its weapons, but because of its people. For the first time, Xyler admitted the truth to himself. This world might be the enemy he had never expected. The sun rose over the battlefield, casting light on the destruction left behind. Burned tanks, shattered weapons, and broken alien machines lay scattered across the sand. Smoke still rose in black clouds. Human soldiers stood tired, covered in dirt and blood, but their eyes carried something new: confidence. They had survived the first day. And survival against such an enemy was already a victory. In a bunker near the front lines, General Harris leaned over the table where maps and reports covered every inch. His voice was rough, but steady. They are stronger than anything we've ever faced. But they bleed. They can be hurt. That means they can be beaten. The room was silent for a moment. Then one of the younger officers spoke. Sir, our weapons barely scratch them. Even when we win, we lose twice as many men. General Harris nodded slowly. That's true. But humans have never relied only on weapons. We rely on something else. We adapt. At that same moment, Dr. Elena Cruz stood in her lab, surrounded by wires, glowing shards, and strange alien metal. She had not slept for 2 days. Her team worked like machines, feeding data into computers, running dangerous tests with stolen alien fragments. Sparks flew, alarms beeped, but they kept going. Finally, Elena looked at the screen and smiled, a tired but hopeful smile. I think we found it, she whispered. A weakness. The alien armor, though nearly indestructible, had one flaw. It overheated under constant stress. If enough heat built up, the material cracked. Not much, not fast, but it was a start. And humans always made the smallest cracks into doors wide enough to win. On the alien ship, Commander Xyler studied the humans with growing frustration. Every other race had broken under the first strike. Empires that lasted centuries had fallen in hours. But these humans, they were stubborn. They were reckless. They were dangerous. An officer approached him. Commander, permission to launch the Skyburners. We can wipe out their largest cities before they organize further. Xyler's jaw tightened. Again, the suggestion to burn the world. Again, the temptation to end this quickly. But no. He wanted to crush them face to face, to see their spirit break in battle. Destroying cities from the sky would not give him the same satisfaction. Not yet, he growled. We will fight them on the ground. We will rip the fire from their hearts with our claws. The officer bowed but hesitated. He dared not say it aloud, but he wondered if the commander's pride was blinding him. Back on Earth, preparations began for the second great battle. Soldiers cleaned their weapons, engineers reinforced vehicles, scientists distributed new prototypes based on Elena's discovery. Small devices that could overheat alien armor faster, rockets modified to burn hotter than before, traps hidden in the terrain. The humans were not planning to defend anymore. They were planning to strike back. Night came again. Under the cover of darkness, alien troops advanced into the ruins of a city. Skyscrapers stood like broken teeth, windows shattered, streets filled with abandoned cars. The aliens moved silently, confident, their glowing weapons lighting the shadows. But this time, the city was not empty. From rooftops and basements, human forces launched their ambush. Snipers fired at exposed joints. Explosives hidden in sewers blew up the streets beneath alien patrols. Rockets screamed from alleys, smashing into armored giants. The city became a trap, every corner hiding danger. The aliens roared in fury. For every human that fell, another stepped up. For every building destroyed, new traps were triggered. The aliens expected fear, but they met defiance. One alien soldier smashed through a wall, grabbing a human fighter by the throat. The human, barely 20 years old, stared into the alien's glowing eyes. With his last breath, he pulled the pin of a grenade. The explosion took them both. The battle raged through the night. Fires lit up the city, painting the sky red. The humans were losing many, but they were teaching the aliens something dangerous. Victory would not come cheap. From his ship above, Commander Zyler watched in silence. His soldiers were winning, yes, but too slowly, too messily. The humans were costing him time, lives, and pride. For the first time in centuries, he felt the sharp edge of anger, not at his enemy, but at himself. He had underestimated them. These creatures, he muttered. They fight like no others. They fight as if every breath is worth 1,000 deaths. What kind of world creates such fire? His claws clenched, and in the silence of the bridge, a thought came unbidden. Perhaps this world could not be conquered. But Zyler shook the thought away. No. Impossible. Every world had fallen. Every enemy had died. Humans would be no different. And yet, far below, in the burning ruins of the city, men and women stood together, bloodied, broken, but unyielding. They looked up at the alien ship in the sky and swore to themselves, this planet would not kneel. Not now. Not ever. The city burned through the night. Smoke rose high into the sky, mixing with the clouds, hiding the stars above. Streets were filled with broken glass, twisted metal, and bodies, both human and alien. But the humans were still standing. Tired, wounded, but alive. In the ruins of a subway station, survivors gathered. Soldiers patched their wounds. Civilians handed out water and bandages. Children clung to their parents, eyes wide with fear, but also with something stronger, determination. General Harris walked among them, speaking quietly, placing a hand on shoulders, giving orders with calm authority. You have done more than anyone believed possible. You stood against monsters, and you made them bleed. The fight isn't over. Not yet. But tonight, you showed them what it means to face humans. The soldiers nodded, silent but proud. They were not just fighting for survival now. They were fighting for victory. Far above, on the alien warship, Commander Zyler studied the maps of the battle. His officers spoke nervously, giving reports of unexpected human strategies, improvised weapons, and traps that cost alien lives. Commander, one said, his voice careful. This resistance is unnatural. They should have broken by now. They should have run. But they fight harder with each loss. Zyler's eyes glowed like fire. I see it. And I do not understand it. Fear is a weapon that has never failed us. But these creatures, they turn fear into fuel. They rise when they should fall. The officer hesitated, then spoke again. Perhaps we should reconsider. Use the skyburners. End this from orbit. This planet is dangerous. For a long moment, silence filled the command deck. Then Xyler turned slowly, his voice like steel. If we burn them, we learn nothing. If we crush them in battle, we will know their secret. I will not return home without understanding what makes these creatures so dangerous. The officer bowed, but unease spread among the crew. For the first time, their commander seemed unsure. Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Cruz studied her data. Her eyes burned with exhaustion, but her hands moved quickly, typing, adjusting, testing. She had discovered more weaknesses in the alien armor, more ways to overload their technology. They are advanced, she told her team. But their arrogance blinds them. They never imagined fighting an enemy who learns this fast. Her assistant asked quietly, "Do you think we can win?" Elena paused, then nodded slowly. "Yes. If we keep fighting, if we keep adapting, we can make them fear us." The next day, the aliens struck again, this time with greater fury. Dropships filled the skies, pouring soldiers into multiple cities at once. Explosions echoed from coast to coast. The invasion was no longer a test, it was a full assault. But the humans were ready. Every city became a battlefield. In the mountains, ambushes destroyed alien patrols with hidden mines and avalanche traps. In the jungles, guerrilla fighters used the terrain to confuse and harass their enemies. In the seas, submarines stalked alien ships, striking from below before vanishing into the dark. Everywhere, humans fought not with superior weapons, but with creativity, with courage, with fire. One alien squad cornered a group of civilians in a school. The civilians were unarmed, terrified, certain death was moments away. But then, a group of firefighters arrived, men and women with nothing but axes, hoses, and courage. They charged the aliens, giving the civilians time to escape. Most of them died, but the civilians survived. And their story spread like fire through the city. Commander Xyler watched the endless reports. Again and again, humans fought back in ways that defied logic. He saw pilots ramming alien ships, soldiers covering grenades with their bodies to protect their comrades, civilians standing in front of children with nothing but stones in their hands. It shook him. "These creatures," he whispered to himself. "They are fragile, yet they fight harder than the strongest empire. They are weak, yet they are unbreakable." His claws tapped against the viewing glass. For the first time, he wondered if victory was even possible. Not because his army was weak, but because the humans had something his kind had never faced before. Something beyond strength. On Earth, the people began to believe. Stories of bravery spread faster than fear. Soldiers who had once thought they were doomed now fought with a new fire. The aliens were mighty, yes. But they were not gods. They could be hurt. They could be killed. General Harris stood before his troops, his voice carrying across the ruined city. "They came here to conquer us, to break us, to burn our world. But we will not kneel. We will not surrender. We will fight them in every street, every mountain, every sea. And when they look into our eyes, they will see something they cannot understand. They will see humanity." His words echoed in the silence, and the soldiers roared with defiance. High above, in the alien warship, Commander Xyler's reflection stared back at him from the glass. For the first time in his long life, he saw something in his own eyes he had never seen before. Fear. The world had changed. In only a few days, humans had gone from fear to fury. They were still losing many lives, still suffering, but their spirit grew stronger with every battle. What once looked like the end of Earth now looked like the beginning of something greater. Commander Xyler stood on the bridge of his warship, staring down at the planet below. His officers moved carefully, afraid of his silence. The reports kept coming: ambushes in the mountains, traps in the jungles, explosions in the cities. His army was advancing, yes, but at a terrible cost. "Commander," one officer said, bowing his head, "the humans are spreading resistance across the entire world. Every day they grow harder to crush. Permission to bring in the full fleet and finish this war before it spreads further." Xyler's claws scraped against the floor. His voice was low, dangerous. "No. If we burn them from orbit, we win nothing. I want to know why they fight like this. I want to know what makes them dangerous." The officer swallowed but obeyed. Yet even among the aliens, whispers began to spread. Their commander had always been cold, always certain. Now there was hesitation in his orders. On Earth, Dr. Elena Cruz finally had a breakthrough. Her team had built a prototype weapon using stolen alien shards. It wasn't large, but it could overload alien armor with concentrated heat. She called it the Lance. "We need to test it," she told General Harris. The general looked at the device, a strange mix of human steel and alien crystal. It hummed with energy, glowing faintly in the dark. "If it works," he said slowly, "we might finally turn the tide." That night, a special unit carried the Lance into the field. The aliens had taken control of a ruined factory, using it as a base. The humans approached in silence, moving through rubble and shadows. Inside the factory, alien soldiers laughed as they prepared for the next attack. To them, it was just another broken human city, another victory. But when the humans struck, everything changed. The Lance fired. A beam of blazing light cut through the air, striking an alien directly in the chest. His armor glowed, shook, then shattered in an explosion of molten shards. The alien roared once before collapsing, dead. The humans stared in shock. For the first time, they had killed one of the invaders with a single shot. The soldiers cheered quietly, their hope burning brighter than the weapon itself. They fought through the factory with new courage, driving the aliens back step by step. When the report reached General Harris, he smiled for the first time in days. "Tell the world," he ordered. "Tell them we can kill these monsters. Tell them we can win." The news spread like fire. Across radios, phones and screens, humans heard the impossible had happened. The aliens were not gods. They were not invincible. They could be beaten. For Commander Zyler, the news was like a blade in the chest. He slammed his claws into the console, sparks flying. "How?" he demanded. "How did they create such a weapon so quickly?" "They adapt, Commander," one officer said nervously. "Every battle we fight, they learn. Every weapon we use, they study. They are changing." Zyler's eyes burned. He thought of all the empires he had destroyed, all the enemies who had fallen before his army. None had adapted. None had resisted this long. Humans were different. And deep inside, he finally admitted the truth, perhaps too late. This was no longer just a conquest. This was a war unlike any his people had fought before. On Earth, the humans struck back harder. Using Elena's discovery, more lances were built. Small at first, then larger, mounted on vehicles, carried by squads, hidden in ambushes. Each time one fired, another alien fell. The battles were still brutal, but for the first time, they were not one-sided. In the ruins of the city, a human squad faced down a towering alien warrior. The alien raised his massive weapon, confident. But the humans raised a lance together, firing a single beam of burning light. The alien's armor cracked, split, and burst. He fell, shaking the ground. The squad erupted in cheers, shouting one word again and again. "Victory! Victory! Victory!" High above, on his ship, Commander Zyler clenched his fists. He had wanted to see humans kneel. Instead, he was watching them rise. "They are not prey," he whispered. "They are predators in disguise." For the first time in his long bloody life, the great commander of the deadliest aliens understood what it meant to face an enemy he might not defeat. And Earth, scarred and burning, began to believe that the impossible was within reach. The world was burning, but for the first time, the fire burned both ways. Cities lay in ruins, skies were black with smoke, oceans shook with battle, but humans were no longer only defending. They were striking back. The alien soldiers, once untouchable, now moved with caution. The new human weapons, the lances, were cutting through their armor, forcing them to adapt. The hunters were beginning to feel like the hunted. On the alien warship, Commander Zyler paced across the command deck. His officers reported heavy losses in multiple cities. For the first time in his career, the numbers did not favor him. "Commander," one said carefully, "the humans are building more of those weapons. If this continues, our forces will be forced to retreat." The word retreat made the crew fall silent. In their long history, they had never retreated. To even speak of it was shameful. Zyler's eyes burned. "We do not retreat. We crush. If they are building these weapons, then we destroy the places they are built. Burn their laboratories. Kill their makers." He turned to the stars, glaring down at Earth. "Find this scientist. The one who dares to challenge me." On Earth, Dr. Elena Cruz worked tirelessly in her hidden lab. Every hour brought new breakthroughs. More lances. More ways to overheat alien systems. But she knew the aliens would come for her eventually. General Harris visited the lab in person. His face was grim. "You're their target now, Doctor. If they find you, this war could be lost." Elena wiped sweat from her brow, staring at the glowing prototypes on her table. "Then we don't let them find me. We keep moving. We keep building. Humanity finally has teeth, General. I won't stop now." The general nodded. "Then neither will we." That night, the aliens struck hard. Dropships descended on the city where Elena's lab had been. Streets exploded with fire as alien soldiers marched forward, searching, scanning, hunting. But the lab was already gone. Humans had moved it hours before, predicting the attack. Instead, the aliens walked into a trap. Explosions ripped through the streets as hidden lances fired from rooftops. Rockets screamed from alleys. Whole buildings collapsed onto alien patrols. It was not just soldiers fighting now. Ordinary civilians joined the ambush, throwing Molotovs, rolling burning cars, doing anything they could to strike at the invaders. The aliens fought back with fury, but the humans slipped through the ruins like shadows, striking fast and vanishing. Commander Zyler watched the chaos on his screens. His claws dug into the arm of his chair. "They are everywhere," he growled. "Every shadow hides a weapon. Every human fights like 10. His officer whispered, "Commander, maybe this world cannot be taken." Zyler turned on him with a snarl. "There is no such thing. Every world falls. Every enemy dies. I will not return in shame." But deep inside, even Zyler felt the truth pressing against his pride. The humans were not like other species. They were not fighting to survive. They were fighting to win. In the mountains, resistance forces gathered. Dozens of squads, armed with new lances, prepared for their boldest strike yet, attacking one of the alien landing zones directly. General Harris stood before them. His voice was low, steady. "Tonight, we don't wait for them to come to us. Tonight, we hit them where it hurts. We show them that Earth is not theirs to take. Not now. Not ever." The soldiers roared, their voices echoing through the valley. Under cover of darkness, they moved out. Crawling through rocks, hiding in forests, advancing with deadly silence. Ahead of them, the alien base glowed with blue light, guarded by towering machines and armored soldiers. The battle began with a single shot. A lance beam pierced the night, striking an alien walker and blowing it apart. Instantly, chaos erupted. Humans charged from every side, firing, shouting, throwing explosives. The aliens roared, caught off guard by the sheer ferocity of the attack. The fight was brutal. Humans fell, but so did aliens. Many more than before. The lances burned through armor. Rockets smashed dropships before they could launch. Grenades tore through squads. The ground shook with fire and blood. By dawn, the alien landing site was in ruins. Smoke rose from their machines. Human flags were planted in the ash. It was not just a battle. It was a message. When the report reached the alien warship, silence filled the command deck. Never before had a world destroyed one of their landing zones. Never before had prey turned into predators so completely. Commander Zyler stared at the burning images on the screen. His voice was cold, but inside, it carried something his soldiers had never heard before. "This world," he whispered, "may be the death of us." The earth was scarred, but it was not broken. Cities burned, oceans boiled, skies thundered with fire, but humans still stood. Their weapons were crude compared to the aliens, their bodies fragile, but their spirit burned brighter than ever. On the alien warship, Commander Zyler stood in silence. For the first time in centuries, he faced something he had never known: defeat. Reports flooded in, more soldiers lost, more ships destroyed, more bases reduced to ash. His once proud army was bleeding. "Commander," an officer said, his voice trembling, "the humans have destroyed another landing site. Our forces are being hunted. If this continues, we may lose the entire campaign." Zyler's claws dug into the armrest of his chair. His glowing eyes narrowed. "Impossible. We are the strongest warriors in the galaxy. No one defeats us. No one." But even as he spoke, doubt crept into his heart. He had seen the humans fight, had seen them sacrifice themselves without hesitation, had seen them rise again and again when they should have fallen. He had called them prey. But prey did not hunt their hunters. On Earth, General Harris and Dr. Elena Cruz prepared for the final strike. They had learned something from captured alien data. The warship in orbit had a central power core, massive and dangerous, but vulnerable if overloaded. Elena spoke quickly, her voice urgent. "If we hit the core with enough lances at once, it will collapse. The whole ship could be destroyed." Harris nodded grimly. "And if we fail?" She hesitated, then said, "Then Earth burns." There was no choice. The humans would launch their boldest attack yet, an assault not on the ground, but in the sky. That night, under the cover of darkness, human jets, bombers, and stolen alien craft rose into the air. Rockets were strapped to old planes. Prototypes hummed with unstable power. Soldiers strapped lances to their vehicles, ready to fire at the warship above. It was a desperate plan, but desperation had always been the human weapon. As the fleet rose, civilians gathered in the ruins below. They watched with wide eyes, whispering prayers, holding each other close. The whole world seemed to stop. This was it. The final battle. The alien warship opened fire. Beams of energy tore through the night sky, burning planes out of existence. Explosions lit the heavens. But the humans kept climbing. "Keep pushing," Harris shouted into the radio. "No turning back." Zyler stood at the front of his ship, watching the swarm of human craft rising toward him. To his eyes, they looked like insects. Fragile, breakable. But deep down, he knew better. "They come to die," one officer sneered. "No," Zyler said softly. "They come to kill." The battle in the sky was chaos. Jets dodged alien fire, rockets streaked upward, explosions shook the warship. Human pilots sacrificed themselves to break holes in the alien defenses. One after another, they rammed their burning planes into alien cannons, tearing open weak points. Finally, a squad carrying the largest lance reached the right position. Harris himself was aboard one of the battered bombers. His voice crackled through the radio. "This is it. Aim for the core." The lances fired. Beams of white-hot energy cut through the night, striking the heart of the alien warship. The hull glowed, trembled, cracked. For a moment, it looked as if nothing would happen. Then the ship shook violently, alarms blaring across the alien command deck. "Commander!" an officer cried. "The core is overloading." Zyler's eyes blazed. He stood tall, unshaken even as the ship trembled around him. "So, this is humanity," he whispered. "Not weak, not prey, but something far greater." His officers looked to him for orders, but he gave none. There was nothing left to give. The warship groaned, metal twisting, fire consuming its core. From the ground, Millions of humans watched as the massive alien vessel lit up the sky. For a moment, it glowed like a second sun. Then it exploded, a shockwave of light and fire spreading across the heavens. The people cheered, cried, screamed with joy. Earth had survived. Humanity had won. In the silence that followed, General Harris's voice carried over the radio. This war is not over. They will come again. But let them come. Because now the galaxy knows, humans do not kneel. Humans do not break. We fight. Always. On the ground, Dr. Elena Cruz wiped tears from her eyes. She had seen the impossible become reality. Humanity, fragile and small, had defeated the deadliest warriors in the galaxy. High above, where the alien warship had once hung like a shadow, only burning fragments fell now. And somewhere among the stars, other empires, other predators, would hear the story. The story of the world that fought back. The story of humans.